So, before I really get into this rant, or I guess anti-rant, I don't know what you would call it, I want to just start off first, right, by saying that I think a lot of people might find me to be a troll because of the content I make. And I just want to say that that is not the case. That isn't the case. I will admit I do troll. I really do. But it's not something I just instantly get out of bed doing. And you can trust me when I say, for the most part, when it comes to this channel, I'm not going to troll anybody. I'm going to give you my honest opinion about whatever I think. And I'm not going to shy away from being counter whatever people think on YouTube is the truth. I'm just not going to be that way, alright? So Harman Smith, everybody doesn't like him. Most of the people who watch him seem to like to hate watch him, and I'm not saying that's everybody, but there's a lot of people who do that. And, there's a lot of controversy surrounding this guy, and I understand why, but I don't understand, me personally, I don't understand why we shouldn't like him. You know what I mean? I like Harman Smith. I think he makes good videos, and I'm going to keep supporting him until I'm given a legitimate reason otherwise. So let's start off. The first impressions I ever had of Harman Smith, right, is, I think someone told me about him like a couple of years ago, and I watched like a few videos. And I think like everybody else, I kind of gained like a bad first impression of him, and I just kept that up for like most of the time I knew him, right? And I think that's something a lot of people did and still do. And, unlike other people who seem to really obsess with the guy, I just kind of brush it off. Like, okay, he's a big Nintendo fan. I don't fuck with Nintendo. I don't fuck with a lot of game commentary in general. Most of the stuff when it comes to, like, gaming is usually just out of, like, morbid curiosity. And it's usually some older shit, right? And, that was my first impression of him. And the second impression of him that I got, and the one that ultimately, I guess, was the one that stuck with me, was like the intro that he does. I don't remember what it was, but I think I was just looking, because, okay, I remember now. I remember. I was thinking of doing a video about the Cinemassacre Truth, because I think a lot of the people on that Reddit have this kind of A-logger thing going on, and I think there's a lot of girly gossip. And I was looking for someone who might be like a user on there, who might use that Reddit talking about videos, and I found like I think he did a video on it, on like had the title and the name, you know what I mean? And he started off by introing all the books that he had, and then that kind of turned me off, and I just turned off the video. And, because there's a lot of people that do stuff like that, right? And I think it might have just been because of, like, me at one point interacting with, like, Comicscape people. And I'm thinking about doing some stuff on those guys pretty soon as well. Just sort of my issues with them. But ultimately, I just saw that and I was like, okay, he's one of those guys. But honestly, now looking at it, the way he intros his videos, and by the way, I don't know if I should use Harman or Cody, but I'm just going to use both throughout this video, right? The way he intros it is very snappy, it's very catchy, and it doesn't affect the video at all, alright? It doesn't take like 3 or 4 fucking minutes, like say, I don't know, Diversity in Comics does of his like fucking campaigns and shit. And it's it's not bad, alright? It's not bad. It's not this big issue that just drags me away from the video. And it's very simple and it's very unique, and It's something that not a lot of people do. Like, he's a writer, and there's not a lot of writers out there for various reasons. And a lot of people that make books nowadays fucking suck. So, you know, I fuck with that. I really do. So, I kept watching his videos, and I guess that would be the third impression, and I realized that this guy's entertaining, and I like watching this guy, compared to a lot of other game channels that are very boring, very minute, kind of snakish. And honestly, watching this guy made me realize more why I don't like those channels. So, to start off, I think the big thing that I really like is the fact that he doesn't do these edited videos, right? It's very unedited, it's very off the cuff, it's just, here's what I think about the situation at hand, here's what I think about, like, the games and whatnot, and, you know, it's just that, right? It's just that. And I really like that style for a lot of reasons, alright? Because a lot of people, they do like some doublespeak shit, right? Where they will tell you that they like something, but not really, but they do like it. I don't want to go back to Donkey, because I know people are going to say I'm A-logging him. But, you know, Donkey does a lot of this bullshit, and he's a very good example because he's just a terrible fucking YouTube channel in general. And you know, people will say that they like something, but then they're not very clear about their shit. You know what I mean? Like, they're very wishy-washy about their opinions. And, you know, like, there's nothing wrong with editing and scripting your videos, right? Alright? Sometimes Cody Lee, sometimes a lot of other people, like Tucci, which is another person I mentioned, and also me, we sometimes flub up certain information if we don't edit in right. But first off, it's usually a very minor situation, and it doesn't drag away from the ultimate product. If you have a problem with the way these videos are filmed, it's more to say about your attention span, because a lot of these young people have these fucked up attention spans, and they can't think for like they can't watch something for like, you know, 5 minutes now, and it's getting shorter and shorter every time. And, you know, you don't have to agree with me, but saying that like you don't get it is kind of fucking stupid. And, you know, I'm fine with editing and scripting. I do that sometimes myself. I think I have a video about Simper games on my channel that I really like. And, you know, I'm thinking about doing another video like that about a different topic. And, you know, I'm fine with, like, you know, people who make edited and scripted videos, but when you are editing and scripting every single video you've ever made, for the most part, what are you hiding? Like, what are you hiding? Because it definitely shows that you're not able to be off the cuff. You know what I mean? And you're not able to do stuff that is very... What's the right word? You're not able to make videos that are just your pure thoughts. You have to play politics, you have to do all this other shit. And, you know, if you have a bad take, you can throw it out. That's fine. But, you know, if you're not able to make a video that shows what you truly feel, what's the point? And I think people have a problem with Harman Smith somewhat because of that, because he's very abrasive. And I don't think that's an issue either. I really don't. I think this is a fucking video platform. This is YouTube, right? Broadcast yourself. That's what it's all about. And I think when you're broadcasting, you know, yourself, you want to make people entertained because you want people to watch the video and you want people to talk about the video and you want like a discussion to go on because of this, right? So if you're just going to be like if being abrasive is like an issue, I don't know what to tell you. He's obviously trying to entertain, all right? He's obviously just trying to put on a show, right? Like he's not actually like this in real fucking life. I highly doubt that he would actually be like this in real life, alright? But people have this weird, like, thing about them where if you act like this on a certain, like, just a video where you're trying to get your points out there and you're trying to entertain, you're somehow like that all the time. And that's really fucking stupid. It's a stupid way of thinking, you know what I mean? And it's obviously something I really wish people would just, like, cut out from their thoughts in general, you know what I mean? And it only seems to happen to people that they hate, you know what I mean? Like, people will give charity to people that they like. Like, say, it sort of goes both ways, because people will either think, like, Keemstar is legit this, like, cancerous, toxic individual, or they just think, like, oh, he's just being who he is. He's just saying it like it is. And, you know, I think there's a thing about both of them, right? But, you know, that's another whole other bag of worms, right? Number 6 is that he's not exactly wrong about anything specific. You know what I mean? Like, I can't exactly pinpoint an issue that people have. You know what I mean? He talks about how Nintendo is better than most consoles, and you know, the into like Steam shit and all the like PC developers. And while I wouldn't completely disagree with that, people act, all right. People act like this is just some insane claim, but there's a reason why a company like Nintendo has been around for a very long time, all right. If Nintendo was just like lucky, all right, there would not be the sort of following that it has right now. You know what I mean? Nintendo has been doing this since the 80s, and in fact, their first like foray into the home console market actually revived the industry. And you know, they've always had that, you know, grip on the casual audience and people who don't even play video games. And as someone who, you know, isn't in the gaming market, you know, he has like a few games on his PC. I think the only console I have is like a PS3 that I don't even plug in, and I also have a DS. The Nintendo Switch is the only thing that I see being anything worth buying. You know what I mean? Like, people are hyping up the Steam Deck, apparently, and that's something I also learned from, like, Harman. Like I said, I'm not that big into the, like, gaming market. I don't really care about that stuff. In fact, I usually just watch Harman's videos because I like Harman and I enjoy his videos. That's basically it. But I do think that the Nintendo Switch is probably the only thing that if I had the money, I would actually buy. You know what I mean? I don't really have the money right now. I kind of have to save and all that other shit. You know, I'm doing big boy things. But, you know, the Nintendo Switch is the only thing that grabs me. And, you know, people are talking about, like, the Steam Deck. And it's insane because I remember when the Steam Deck first came out, people were, like, giving it shit. And now apparently it's, like, better than the Nintendo Switch. And I'm trying to figure this out, and I actually found this comment, and it could be different. I'm going to admit that right up front. Like I said, I'm not exactly super into the, like, gaming scene, right? But basically, they said, like, the Nintendo, like, the Steam Deck is bad at first, but you gotta, like, tweak it to, like, make it work good. And that has always been sort of my big fucking problem with gaming on the PC. Like, a lot of the times, especially with Steam, they will put out games like Max Payne 1 and 2 and like Bully Scholarship Edition, or like games I've bought that do not work. You have to get a third-party fix to even work these games. There's one for like Max Payne 1 and 2. There's one that kind of works for Bully, and I don't think I ever got the Bully fix or the Max Payne 2 fix. I got the Max Payne 1 fix, and I like Max Payne. It was a good game. But, you know, that's just sort of the issue. And I think I've had, like, this is sort of just the big issue with these games on the PC, right? I bought a game called Tropico. I can't remember the last title, but I think it was the one before the new one. And, you know, I bought the CD because I still believed in collecting physical media at that point, even for PC games. And I tried to play the game, and it just doesn't work. It doesn't fucking start at all. So I looked for a fix for this, and it turns out that there is a patch that only the downloaded game has. But the game for the CD, like, you have to download that shit manually. It's just stuff like this that, like, when people say that apparently, you know, PC gaming is going to overtake, you know, console gaming and whatnot. I mean, if we're just talking about like the gay shit, like battle royales and fucking Among Us and in the like outdated indie crap that like only a couple of people really play. Yeah, sure, it's gonna be the market for those people, but for anybody with, you know, anybody who actually likes gaming, and especially like casual people like to revisit the older games, and that's why people are actually buying like the Nintendo Switch Online stuff, right? Because it's workable and it's not illegal. You know, it's just hard to imagine this beat doesn't work for what I'm doing right now. How about this? Okay, this one works very well. But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, there's a reason why people are like buying that stuff, because they like to revisit their old games. And, you know, Nintendo does it, and it works because they don't put out broken fucking shit on their stuff because you're paying for it. It's a paid service, right? And Switch constantly puts out broken shit, and they allow people to scam their users with these fucking like early access games, right? And I don't have a problem with early access, I really don't. But so many times I have been burned by a game that was in early access that had an interesting concept and ultimately ended up abandoned like a few months after. So, you know, there's a lot of issues with both, with like a lot of stuff, and I think like people for whatever reason want to just ignore Steam because it's the most popular like internet like game provider, you know what I mean? But there's a lot of issues with Steam, and I think people really need to you know, accept that stuff, right? And a lot of people will talk about the issues with Nintendo, but then they'll be completely blind on other things. And that term, of course, is Pretendo. Not exactly that term, but I just wanted to use that term. It's going to be a term I'm going to be using forever now because it pisses off a lot of people. And what I've gathered from what I think of Pretendo is they hate Nintendo until they don't. These people will talk shit about how Nintendo's such a bad fucking company and how they do all this bad stuff, and then when a Nintendo Direct comes out with like even just 2 games that they're very excited and looking forward to, it's now completely flipped and everybody loves Nintendo again. And these people have these like terrible workarounds to try to like justify the love of the game, but still hate Nintendo and still spite them because they wouldn't let them they wouldn't let them play their video games unedited in like a Let's Play or a live stream. Get the fuck out of here. I'm sorry, you don't deserve money for that shit, and it's a privilege just to even do that shit to begin with on the internet, as far as I'm concerned. but then they'll like say like, oh, we're going to pirate those games because apparently that first off, it doesn't do shit to the companies, not one fucking bit. All right, and it just sort of does more harm to the people that are making the games because they're not going to be thinking, oh man, they don't like our business practices, we gotta change our entire corporate structure. They're going to be thinking, okay, well, this person isn't making any money, so you guys can, game your game. Hey, you guys who made that game that got pirated a lot, you guys didn't sell that much, so you can get the fuck out, and you're never going to work in this business ever again. That's what you guys are actually doing. If you like the game, you're hurting any chance that the people that made the game, or, that they'll ever make another game, or even a sequel to that game. So, and I'm not completely against pirating. I do that for a lot of older consoles. Mostly just stuff that I'm either, once again, morbidly curious about, or, just like stuff I played in my childhood, right? But, like, pirating modern games it doesn't have the effect that you think it does. It really doesn't. So I've been talking a lot about, like, sort of just my opinions about stuff. So let's get back on to topic, right? Harman Smith is someone who, when I rediscovered him again, I was somewhat iffy about him, right? And, is it playing this again? Okay, you guys haven't heard this one. I did a second take before this, and I kind of fucked it up, but yeah. This is my style, and if you hate it, go fuck yourself. But yeah, I was a little bit iffy on Harman, and one of the things I sort of a system that I didn't develop. I took it from a YouTuber that's no longer doing videos by the name of Godwinson, kind of. That if you aren't sure about a guy's content, the best thing that you can do is to watch people, especially if they're pretty controversial, watch people talking about them, criticizing them, commentating on them, ranting, whatever. And if those people are making a lot of good points and you like their videos, then they're fucking idiots and they're stupid and you shouldn't give them the time of day, right? But if those people are commentating, they're making bad points, or even the biggest cardinal sin, they're just boring and uninteresting and just shit at making videos, right? Then, look, then you shouldn't give them the fucking benefit of the doubt. You shouldn't give them the time of day, all right? And you should just like that person and like their content, right? And that's what I've seen. Most of the people that make videos about Harman Smith, they're not good. They all are the same cookie cutter, like, gameplay commentary channels, and the people who aren't are pretty low rent. And I know I said stuff about, like, power of not editing, but, like, the people who are very low rent, their issue is that they're just not good at the, like, content, you know what I mean? They're not good at really refuting his points that well. And, you know, it's all the same shit. Like, there's so many channels that comment on this guy with the same Wojak emojis. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's all the same people. It's different people. But they all have the same aesthetic of, like, Wojak, Nintendo emoji, and, like, PC gaming master race icon. Like, they all have the same shit. And they don't do anything interesting. And that would honestly be the one thing that if someone were to, like, make a point refuting Harman Smith, and I don't agree with everything that he says, he's very specifically Nintendo or nothing, and I don't completely agree with that, right? But if someone were to make a video that was able to refute his points good, and was also entertaining, and the person was charismatic to fucking watch, I would be all right. Okay, you made a good point against Harman, and I accept that. So, I don't agree with everything Harman says. I don't agree with everything just one person on the internet fucking says. I like to have multiple different points of views, when I'm watching stuff, right? But Harman, for the most part, is someone who is entertaining. He doesn't need a lot to be entertaining. And he makes a lot of very good points. Even if you don't agree with them, it's very easy. Well, it's very easy to just disagree with his points. But, like, actually listening to him, he knows what he's talking about. He really does. And a lot of people are going to, have a problem with people who have different opinions being able to, explain themselves in a way that makes sense. So ultimately, that's just sort of my opinion about Harman Smith. I think a lot of people actually, and I want to end this off like this, right? A lot of people just need to watch other people who have differing opinions. Not because because it's healthy, right? That's really it. You need to watch other people with differing opinions because it's a healthy thing to do. And when you're not doing that, you're just kind of closing yourself off, and you're not going to have any good counter reactions to people with differing opinions. That's basically it. Watch people you disagree with, and you're going to find out what you truly believe in and what you don't believe in. That's all I gotta say. Peace.